LSU is heading on the road to play Ole Miss in what will be the biggest game in the SEC. Lane Kiffin against his former team in the Magnolia Bowl in Oxford. And for LSU fans, I'm telling you, you are not going to like what's going to happen.
Catch up with coach whose name is obviously a topic of discussion everywhere.
What do you think of the move?
It's easier to win at a location that is aligned top to bottom.
I don't think he's crazy for leaving. I do think to that point that LSU is still a superior job.
I don't think Lane Kiffin thinks his team can win the national championship. I don't either.
How do you describe the last month for Ole Miss football?
I would say a little hectic.
One of my very dear friends, Ben Garrett, had something to say. He quoted Ludacris and said, "You can't turn something into a housewife." And I guess Kiffin's not a housewife.
So September 19th, week 3 of the college football season, LSU will be heading on the road to Oxford, Mississippi to play the Ole Miss Rebels in their SEC opener. When people hear this game, the absolute first thing they think of is Lane Kiffin going back home to play his former team when he had just left them a couple months earlier. It's almost like, Lane Kiffin left Ole Miss. He left the housewife. If you know Ole Miss culture, they at tailgates, they have the dresses, the polos, very nice warm weather. They left, Lane Kiffin left the housewife for the stripper. LSU, he left the wife and the kids for the stripper, and now he's going back to the ex's house to say what's up, and I am just so excited for this game. I think this is the best game in the SEC this entire year. This game has the most stories aside from like Ohio State, Michigan. Even with Ohio State, Michigan this year, this game might have the most storylines out of any other game in the college football season. So I'm going to give you my prediction, my thoughts for this game. I want to talk about kind of stuff happening end of last season. Obviously, Lane Kiffin leaves for the playoffs. Ole Miss beats Tulane. They upset Georgia, then lose to Miami before going to the national title. Lane Kiffin pulls his coaches halfway through Ole Miss's playoff cycle. He takes players, he raids the roster from Ole Miss, which heavily wounded them coming to this next year, even with guys like Kewan Lacey returning. Trinidad Chambliss, Heisman hopeful Trinidad Chambliss coming back, but you're losing a guy like Princess Umalian. You're losing guys to the drafts like Harrison Wallace and Stribling. You're losing a ton. And obviously the defense 2 years ago was great, was all right last year. Now this year's, even with a defensive mind in Pete Golding at head coach, I just don't know how I feel about the talent on this. You also had leaked contracts with older players finding out that younger players were making more than them. They said, nope, not having it. They leave. And then Lane Kiffin, obviously, they talk about in the clip that I showed you from the interview. This is what Lane Kiffin does. Lane Kiffin, if you've known Lane Kiffin the second he stepped into Oxford, he was probably going to do this. This was probably always going to be the outcome for Ole Miss. He did this with Tennessee.
Thanks for coming, guys. This was not an easy decision.
That was the most extreme example, how they burned down the city.
Tuesday night, UT students spray painted the name Lane on the campus rock, along with a variety of other four-letter words.
They burn down Knoxville because Lane left. He goes to USC, get fired on the tarmac. Then he goes to Bama, gets fired the night before the national championship, goes to FAU, and then Ole Miss, and now does it again at LSU.
Thank you for all the support through this process, which was not an easy one.
The history for this series, this is the Magnolia Bowl, and it's always been a rivalry in the SEC, but it's never been personal. This is personal between Lane Kiffin and Pete Golding. There's a total of 114 meetings in this series. LSU leads 64, 43, and 4. And I'm excited. This game is going to have huge playoff implications. If you look at LSU and Ole Miss's schedule, if this is a must-win game for both teams, especially because Lane Kiffin wants to show, hey, I left Ole Miss for a reason to go to LSU, and Ole Miss is defending home turf against the guy that left them out to dry. So if I bring up LSU's schedule, they start off week 1, Clemson at home. That was an out-of-conference game. It's not a must-win, but if you're going to be an at-large team, you're going to have to win that. At Ole Miss, you're going to have to win that game because the week after, who do you have? You have Mike Elko's Texas A&M. You also have at Auburn, Bama, Texas, at Tennessee, all in a row. This is a game where if you lose your SEC opener with guys like Auburn, Bama, Texas, Tennessee, and A&M, I don't think LSU is going to get to the SEC championship, let alone get to the college football playoff. Now looking at Ole Miss's schedule, Ole Miss opens up against Louisville, and then their SEC opener is LSU, and then who they have the week after? At Florida. And look, you can say Florida's not very good. Well, that didn't really matter to Texas because Texas got their ass kicked by Florida last year. I think that was their SEC opener too. After that, bye week, then at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's been pretty good the past couple years, and now they have 5-star Jared Curtis, who they flipped from Georgia. The week after that, Missouri. Week after that, at Texas. Week after that, Auburn. Week after that, Georgia. Week after that, at Oklahoma. My God, Ole Miss got absolutely screwed over with their SEC schedule, and man, with that schedule in the second half of the season where Trinidad is going to have to play hero ball, this is a must win. And if they lose, I don't want to call the season over because you have a playmaker at quarterback, but I would not like our hopes if I'm an Ole Miss fan. All right, so before we get farther in this video, if you are enjoying so far, please hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 500 before the beginning of the next college football season. Also, hit if you're an Ole Miss or an LSU fan, hit the like button. It does nothing to you, but it just helps me. Thank you. Now back to the video. So I want to go position by position and kind of give my thoughts of who I think has the edge for both sides. So let's start off at quarterback between the two starters, Trinidad Chambliss from Ole Miss and Sam Leavitt from Arizona State, now at LSU. So Trinidad Chambliss was at D2 2 years ago at Ferris State, won the national title, comes to Ole Miss, should have maybe been a Heisman finalist. He did not have the stats, but I think we all know that he was better than Diego Pavia, even though he didn't have the necessarily like stats that like a Diego Pavia had. But between him and Sam Leavitt has injury concerns. He has been fully cleared of his injury last year with his legs, last year when he was at Arizona State, so we should be all good. But with overall production, Sam Leavitt went to the playoffs as an automatic qualifier, almost beat Texas. Trinidad got in a year that after Jackson Dart left, Ole Miss was not supposed to be good that last year, and he not only took them to the playoffs, won against Tulane, which is not a great accomplishment, but he won against Georgia. He beat Georgia. So I gotta put Trinidad over Sam Leavitt on my quarterback's position. So 1 up for Ole Miss, now at running back. This is also going to be Ole Miss. Kewan Lacey is just too good. So quickly, Kewan Lacey is up. Ole Miss is up 2-0. Kewan Lacey had some of the most incredible stats last year, but it's because they just spammed him over and over again. Either way, Ole Miss quickly up 2-0 over LSU. And now this is kind of when the tables get turned. As we go to wide receiver, obviously wide receiver and LSU have a long history together. I'm going to go wide receiver. I'm going to give LSU the edge. They have Caden Lee, who's going to be great. Tristan Keys, I think was the number 1, number 2 receiver in the high school recruiting class last year. They got some guys from Ole Miss transferring, plus Ole Miss has lost Harrison Wallace, and they lost Stribling to the draft. But they do have Deuce Alexander and Jonte Cook II, so I do like what Ole Miss has, but I'm giving it to LSU. Tight end, it's a toss-up. I'm going to lean LSU because they got Ahmad Hudson, a 5-star, and Lane Kiffin is decent with tight ends. So Ole Miss up 2-1 to 1. with a tie. Now O-line also going to give it to LSU. LSU brought a ton of guys in. Look at Jordan Seaton, the transfer from Colorado. He's the #1 tackle in the portal. So I'm going to give it to LSU. Defensive line, I am also going to give to LSU. LSU has guys like DJ Pickett. They have Princewell Umanah-Malelin, who transferred from Ole Miss, now at LSU. He is the #1 edge rusher in the portal. Ole Miss has some guys like Sertain Perkins, who's going to be that linebacker edge combo hybrid, but I'm going to give LSU the edge there. Same thing at linebacker. LSU is losing Harold Perkins, but they do have Whit Weeks and TJ Daugherty. What I just said with Ole Miss, they do have Sertain Perkins, but remember, he's in linebacker edge hybrid. He can only be one place at a time. He's not going to have to, he can't play both at the same time. So I'm going to give it to LSU, linebacker at LSU. At cornerback, I'm going to say it's a toss-up just because both teams have not shown great DB plays. If you remember last year in that Fiesta Bowl, Ole Miss had multiple coverage busts. Think what happened with Malachi Toney, where Carson Beck was dotting him up back and forth, and that's Carson Beck. And with LSU, same thing. This LSU defense has been good. I might give the edge to LSU. I just don't think it's close enough. And then with safety, I'm going to give the edge to LSU just because think of all the coverage busts with Ole Miss. And LSU did have a better defense last year than Ole Miss. So I'm going to give it to LSU with safety. Special teams, I'm going to give it to Ole Miss just because of their kicker. They have an amazing kicker. I'm blanking on his name. Lucas Canero. I mean, this dude hits from like 55 automatically in playoff games when it matters in the fourth quarter. So I'm going to give it to them. So that brings us to the end of the position battle matchup. LSU wins 5-3-2. They won 5 of the 10 position battles. Ole Miss won 3, and there were 2 toss-ups. So you can honestly say if the toss-up is going to go Ole Miss ways, that it's super close, but I am going to give the edge to LSU. Some of my personal thoughts about this: I think this is going to be the best game of the year in the SEC. This game will probably be at night. You're going to get an amazing environment. Ole Miss fans, look, they know how to drink, they know how to party, and goddamn it, they know how to be loud. I don't care how many people are in that stadium, they know how to be loud. I think Trinidad is one or maybe even the best quarterback in the country. If you looked at my top 10 quarterbacks, guy had Trinidad 2 or 3, and I think he had him like 4th, 5th, or 6th best player in the whole country. Trinidad was special when it came to the end of the playoffs last year. The only thing is we've seen this before. A player gets hot at the end of the season, can't make it, continue it in the up and coming season. Look at Ohio State. Look how electric they were in the playoffs. I know they lost a lot, but they supposedly brought in an upgrade at quarterback with Julian Sand, and they looked pretty docile. So I think Trinidad looked good in the regular season, looked amazing in the playoffs. I just don't think he's going to be able to replicate. Same with Pete Golding. What Pete Golding did in that playoff run, I just don't think they're going to be able to replicate that for an entire season compared to a couple games in the playoffs when everyone's fired up. You just lost your head coach. You get the guys to rally together. I just don't think that's going to happen. LSU absolutely rated this Ole Miss offense and this Ole Miss defense, especially in the trench play. And it's all, I mean, especially with the draft, Trinidad is going to have to be playing hero ball. I actually think that could help Trinidad because the Heisman cares about like the most outstanding player. So if you're playing hero ball and Superman where you have to come back every game and you're having to go 5-2, 7-1 in one possession games in the SEC play, that could win you a Heisman. That is great stats that they look for, but when it comes to the actual record of Ole Miss, I think it might suffer. I think LSU has more talent and weapons at almost every single position on both sides of the ball. I think Lane Kiffin is a better coach than Pete Golding. That's why Lane Kiffin was head coach and Pete Golding was the defensive coordinator. Even with the playoff win against Georgia and what maybe that experience brought to this team, I think LSU will have a much better season. I think they're a much better team, and I think they're going to have much more success. But college football is magical. Weird things happen in the sport. Teams that go 6-6 beat national title contenders. Louisville, SMU beat Miami. Purdue and Iowa beat Ohio State. Bama lost to Vanderbilt. Bama lost to Oklahoma. Weird things happen. Ohio State lost to a bad Michigan team. Weird things happen in this sport. And it doesn't matter what your season's going to be. It doesn't matter what the recruiting rankings was. It doesn't matter. Can you get your guys to suit up for 60 minutes to defend their home turf against the guy that took everything from you? And I think it's going to happen. I think even with Ole Miss might have a 8-4 season or a 9-3 season, they're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to make the SEC championship. They're going to completely underperform from what people think. It doesn't matter, because I believe in destiny. I think destiny and fate have this game already written. I don't think Lane Kiffin is going to leave Ole Miss, go to LSU, walk into Ole Miss, and take it. I think Ole Miss is going to defend their honor, and I think with a walk-off field goal, Ole Miss wins 37-34. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. This style of video is something that I want to bring to all of my videos in the future. I want to make less videos and put more effort in the ones that I actually do make. I hope you enjoyed more of this video essay, kind of like emotional roller coaster video. I think this is kind of going to be the new meta. Instead of just talking, it's very boring and dry, and I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you have any feedback, please let me know down in the comments. I am taking all feedback. Let me know, what did you like in the video? What did you not like? But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm really excited for this game, LSU versus Ole Miss. And if you are an LSU and Ole Miss fan and you want to see more content about your team, let me know down in the comments. We're going to be having an LSU schedule prediction and an Ole Miss schedule prediction video coming out soon. So make sure you turn on the notification bell so you get a notification for that. But again, it's all I have for you guys tonight. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I'll talk to you guys all tomorrow. And as always, thank you.